And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Tonight's weather chart showing here weak low pressure over the eastern Aleutians, but a pretty widespread area of light rain all the way up to Nunivak Island along the southwest coast here into the Alaska Peninsula with showers for Adak and Atka. Diminishing thunderstorm activity here for the Brooks Range out to the eastern North Slope and then southeastward there into the Yukon. And diminishing isolated showers here over the western Alaska Range. And a chance of rain tonight moves into Prince of Wales Island, but stays fair in the north. And that front weakens here across the southern panhandle tomorrow for cloudy skies with areas of light rain in the south, isolated showers in the north, partly to mostly sunny here across south central Alaska, maybe Prince William Sound after some morning low clouds. And then southern Cook Inlet, though, staying cloudy. Scattered isolated thunderstorms again for the Brooks Range, northern interior valleys out to the eastern North Slope. Rains slipping on up into Kodiak Island across Bristol Bay and the coastal areas of the Kuskokwim Delta to Nunivak Island. And a trough bringing more rain into the eastern Aleutians. And then for the day on Sunday, this low weakens there near the Alaska Peninsula, keeping it cloudy and damp there all the way up into Kodiak Island with some shower activity now along the southern Kenai Peninsula coast there. And again, mostly cloudy across southern Alaska or partly sunny with isolated showers and thunderstorms over the mountainous terrain in the afternoon into evening. Mostly sunny in the central interior and fair all the way up to the Arctic coast. And for the southeast coast, mostly cloudy with a few lingering showers. Southeast winds 15 to 20 knots for the south coast of the Panhandle tomorrow. East-northeast at 10 knots for the central coast. Light winds on the north coast. Light winds also for Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay, northern inner channels. East at 10 for Stevens Passage. Southeast 15 for Clarence Strait. Those will be 20 knots for Clarence Strait out of the southeast on Sunday, and southeast 15 on the south coast, south to southeast 10 knots on the central coast, and light east to northeast breeze on the north coast. And for Lynn Canal, southeast winds of 15 knots, same thing for Stevens Passage. Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast, light variable winds tomorrow. And for the Barren Islands, Kamishak Bay, east winds of 15 knots, Cook Inlet, south to southwest winds at 10 knots. And variable winds at 10 knots for Cook Inlet and Prince William Sound for Sunday. And east winds of 15 knots from the North Gulf Coast into Kamishak Bay, east at 20 for the Barren Islands with 5-foot seas. Kodiak Island for Saturday, east to northeasterlies, 20 to 25 knots, east at 20 for the Bristol Bay area. And for the Alaska Peninsula, east winds 20 to 25 knots with seas 4 to 8 feet. And then for Sunday, variable winds 10 to 15 knots for the Alaska Peninsula, east at 15 for the Kodiak Island area, southeast 15 for Bristol Bay. And for the eastern Aleutians, northwest to southwest winds 20 to 25 knots, west at 25 for the central Aleutians, western Aleutians, west-northwest at 15 to 25 knots. For the day Sunday, western Aleutians, west-southwest winds 15 to 20 knots, northwest 20 knots for Adak and Atka, and the eastern Aleutians looking at west to northwest winds of 15 to 25 knots. And for the Kuskokwim Delta coast tomorrow, east winds at 20 knots, otherwise Norton Sound, Yukon Delta coast, and St. Lawrence Island, northeast winds at just 10 knots, east at 20 for St. Matthew Island, and for St. Paul and St. George, east winds at 15 knots. Those will become north at 15 for the Pribilofs on Sunday, northeast at 15 for St. Matthew Island, and the southwest coast, east winds 15 to 20 knots, St. Lawrence Island, east at 15, Norton Sound, variable to south at 10 knots. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast Saturday, west winds at 15 knots or 10 to 15 knots and 10 knots out of the west for the central coast, southwest winds at 10 knots for the western Arctic coast and the Chukchi Sea, northwest 10 to 15. And for Sunday, Chukchi Sea, north to northwest winds 15 knots, west at 10 for the western Arctic coast, central and east side here, west winds 15 knots.